Our city's economic development and job creation efforts are led by Joe DePinto and his department staff and are supported in turn by other city departments. They have all done remarkable work over the years to create jobs in Wilmington by attracting new companies and helping others to expand. These efforts have helped to offset the effects of business mergers, layoffs, and closings. I am very proud that my administration and this council agreed years ago to create a strategic fund to support job growth and business development. Other than outright grants, all of our investments have been paid back to us within just a few years, so we can reinvest the money in other projects. Our investments have paid off handsomely by generating over $29 million in new wage tax revenue alone for the city since 2002. The return on these investments also include new jobs, new places for people to live and enjoy. Our latest investment opportunity is a new hotel on the riverfront that will produce benefits not only for Wilmington, but for all of Delaware. Wilmington is prepared to commit to a $1 million letter of credit to assist the hotel project in achieving full bank financing. We are currently reviewing protections that would be included in the agreement to enable the city to recover its money if any portion of the letter of credit is ever needed for this project. It is important to note that a letter of credit is not a grant, but a type of loan guarantee or insurance policy that encumbers city funds for a defined period of time. The funds will eventually become unencumbered, and the city will have the money available for other economic development projects. A letter of credit would be backed by the city's Economic Development Strategic Fund, which was established by the administration and council soon after I took office in 2001. This letter of credit does not affect operating budget dollars that support daily government programs, services, and personnel. A riverfront hotel will be another great addition to Wilmington. Wilmington's rise in recent years as a regional destination for tourism supported by an ever-expanding array of restaurants and entertainment venues. Wilmington is the commerce capital of the state. I'll take that too if we can get away with it. What's good for Wilmington is good for all Delawareans. Wilmington should be proud to support another project that will produce 167 immediate construction jobs, $435,000 in building permits, $60,000 in the construction phase wage tax, 120 full-time jobs, and future city wage tax and head tax revenue. All of these benefits will help our city as we also are supporting new tourism opportunities and improving our city and state's image as class destinations. Speaking of the need for jobs and job creation, I came across some national numbers recently that are a good indication of why we have the mess we have today as far as available jobs. Job creation in the 1960s totaled 17.1 million. 19.4 million jobs were created in the 1970s. 18.1 million jobs were created in the 1980s. 21.7 million jobs were created in the 1990s. Since 2000, job growth in the United States has only amounted to a paltry 900,000. That pretty much says it all. According to the latest U.S. Labor Department statistics, jobs grew by nearly 230,000 in the last quarter. But by comparison, 6,000 jobs were eliminated in the government sector. Nationwide, the government sector has seen a drop of nearly 500,000 jobs in recent years. As I turn to the fiscal year 2013 operating budget proposal for your review, let me begin by announcing that this budget does not add any city employees to the unemployment rolls. As you know, I am not a fan of layoffs, and I have tried to avoid them when I could throughout my tenure as mayor. I will not add our own people to the unemployment lines and contribute to the drain on the local and national economy. While I regret that I am not able to offer any employees a pay raise for the fourth consecutive fiscal year, I've done everything possible to make sure that they have a job and that we can keep current city services and programs in force. And I'm also pleased to announce that the fiscal year 2013 general fund budget plan also does not require any increase in city property taxes or any increases in city fees. Here are some additional details of the budget proposal. Expenditures are totaled at $143.4 million, which is an increase of $4 million or 2.9% from fiscal 2012. This increase is almost entirely the result of three largely uncontrollable items. Pension contributions rose sharply by $2.3 million, or more than 19%. Debt service increased nearly $1.2 million, reflecting a full year of principal and interest payments on the city's November 2011 capital bond issue. And the general fund will have to absorb $329,000, which is the cost of 15 police officer positions for the last 4 months of fiscal year 2013, when the federal COPS grant now covering these officers expire. As I indicated, there is no cost of living adjustment, or a COLA, for employees in this budget. A modest 2.5 COLA, for example, would have costed an additional $1.7 million, which we simply can't afford. All police and fire handheld radios will be replaced in fiscal year 2013 with the latest Motorola technology. The present radio equipment is more than 7 years old and is no longer supported by the manufacturer, making repairs extremely expensive and difficult, if not entirely impossible. The $913,000 cost of the new radios will be spread over 7 years by financing the purchase through a capital lease. We need these radios now for the safety of our citizens, police officers, and firefighters. The city's greening initiatives have reduced overall city electricity costs by more than 16%, or almost $294,000. This savings largely offsets increases in landfill fees, which are up by $186,000, and building, property, equipment maintenance costs, which are up by $168,000. Last year, I announced that the city's 4th of July festival had become a victim of the economic crisis, and we eliminated the event. This year, I've chosen to restore half of the funding for the event, which is $45,000, with the hope that local businesses step forward to provide the matching $45,000. I want this grand celebration of our country to occur this year. I challenge local businesses to meet us halfway and help us put this traditional patriotic family event back on the public calendar. Due to the diligent work of our city finance officers, and the projected $5.5 million deficit now stands at just $2.75 million. In order to erase the remaining gap between expenditures and revenues, I'm proposing that we use the city's unassigned fund balance, or the surplus from prior fiscal years, to balance the budget. This is the wisest way to deal with the current deficit. I do not want to lay off employees. We have already cut the budget by $350,000, and this proposal on top of the $10 million in cuts over the last 3 years. We can't cut any more without affecting programs and services. With the option of a tax increase off the table, the use of the budget surplus from prior years to balance the budget makes perfect sense. I am very hopeful that we will continue to see a rise in the overall economic picture locally and nationally in the next year or two. But until we do, I urge you to stay the course that we've followed over the past few years, which has helped to preserve staff levels, programs, and city services while making dramatic cuts wherever possible in government expenditures.